What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 3 of the Perseverance Project. It's your boy, Angelo.
And it's your boy, Dean.
Back for the third episode. Finally getting consistent with it. Going to be out every week, every Monday. Like we said, like we promised.
Mm-hmm.
How was your week, bro?
It was good. I just stayed home, focused on my schoolwork, because, I had a little break, so I got all my work done. And now we're here.
Yeah, I feel that. Busy-ass week this week. It's kind of crazy. But dealt with it.
Went through it.
Like we need to, exactly. Things have been crazy. Like with COVID. And not even just now. Just in general. People we know getting COVID.
Yeah.
Things are getting really tight around the neighborhood.
Not seeing certain people because of COVID or having to stay inside because things are getting worse.
Yeah, you're not going to see me in like a week and a half because I'll get back from Florida. I'm going to have to quarantine my ass at home.
Yeah, I'm have to be on the Zoom call or something for this.
Might have to, yeah. Going to have to learn how to do a Zoom call and figure out how to record that and then post that.
But we'll get through it.
Exactly, because we do. That's what we do. That's what we're working towards. That's what everybody needs to be working towards. Yeah, me and Dean were just sitting here just now watching somebody who's pretty famous. Most people know him who's kind of in this world where it's like this motivational speaking, whatnot world, yeah. Eric Thomas, who I think he actually goes by Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher.
Like, I've never heard that, little...
That's, his, tag is, that he's, the hip-hop preacher. Because he's, he was somebody who literally came from nothing.
Yeah, like he
Eric
said
Thomas.
In the video. He said he was, that he was a high school dropout. He used to, come from eating from the trash.
Yeah, he's somebody who had nothing, came from a very, I don't know, I guess, a rundown neighborhood, somewhere that's not, the best
advanced
to grow up. Yeah, exactly. Somewhere that's not...
safe.
Yeah, it's just somewhere that's tough to really flourish and grow up in. And look what he's doing now. He's inspired so many people. I'm one person who's definitely inspired. Like I told you before we even put the podcast on, he's somebody that I would listen to while I worked out.
And I was telling you how I was just scrolling through TikTok and I seen something on him and I'm like, yo, I got intrigued.
Yeah.
Just from seeing something on him.
Yeah, his main thing, you said it to me, was that lion mentality that he kind of speaks into people where it's
and pushes.
Yeah, I know. He says in one of his things, it's this is pretty much what's the word I'm looking for, paraphrase, because I don't know exactly what he said, but the thing he said was lions don't wake up in the when lions wake up in the morning, they're like, oh, I'm a lion. They know they're legit. They don't play themselves down to their, I'll say, community. I feel like that's the best way to put it.
Or environment.
Yeah, they know that they are number one.
Yeah.
They are the top of the food chain, and they know that. And that's the way they go about their business. And that kind of plays into what I want to talk about with confidence. People I'm an overly confident person.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And everybody sees that when we play basketball and whatever we do. I talk my shit.
Video games, sports,
no matter what
anything it is, bro. One
no
of
matter
us
what
is
it
always
is.
talking shit.
And it's just that often gets confused with confidence and cocky.
Cockiness. I was literally explaining this to one of my friends last week, saying how I'm an overconfident person because I am super confident in myself.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between cockiness and confidence. I feel those that are cocky, they have nothing to back up their talk. They're all this. When you're confident, you can go ahead and like you said in basketball, you can sit there and talk shit, and then you're dunking on John the next play. You know what I mean? Or if we're playing video games, and I'm talking shit, and then I'm shitting on John this next game.
It's always John.
It's always John. But, that's my main thing with cocky and confidence, is when you're confident, you're confident enough to back up your talk.
But there are people in the world that they're cocky, but they can back it up. It's not that they can't. It's just a matter of it's the way you go about it. I'll never put somebody else down to put myself up. If I'm talking and if I'm like, yo, I'm gonna beat you with something, whatever. I'm gonna be better than you at this. I will. I swear to God, this is gonna happen. It's not me saying, oh, you suck at whatever it is. It could be business, sports, video, whatever it is, school even. I can say I'm gonna be better than you at this. Not that I'm putting you down. Not that I respect that you're good at this. But I promise you, I will get myself to a point where I am better than you at this.
Not you suck, just I'm better.
Yeah, and people often, get put down, and a lot of people aren't confident because they're afraid that they're going to get called cocky. I dealt with that a long time, where with, I'm not going to mention names, but with ex-girlfriends, where it's I would be like, yo, I know I got this, or I'm going to go out on the baseball field. I know I'm going to be the best out there because I'm going to push myself to do so. And they're like, that's really cocky of you. And I'm like, but how?
Yeah, you can't.
Like, and it's something that when people hear that word, like, you know, some people, they'll hear, like, somebody be like, that's kind of cocky of you, and they'd pull themselves back. They'd hold themselves back to be like, all right, I don't want to be cocky, so now I'm just going to have no confidence in myself.
Yeah, and then you're not yourself. Like you said, just with girls, I feel like people that like to talk about themselves in confident ways, they get, like, drawn back because of, like, a girl or whatever.
But it even goes the other way, too, with guys. Some guys put girls down, or they say, like, with girls who like to show off what they have. I mean, I'm not, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I'm a big, you know, be positive about the way you look. Be positive about whatever you have, and do your thing. If you got it, flaunt it. That's the way I feel.
If it makes you happy and makes you feel like you're doing something right, then.
Exactly. And people, like, guys will say, like, oh, she's a slut. And literally, this is the world we live in, which is crazy. And it's like, not really. Like, you're just mad.
you're mad that you either can't have it or that what you have don't have it.
Exactly. And it's like, that'll eventually put somebody down and make somebody self-conscious. And that's what helps us, like, you know, not push ourselves forward. And, like, the other thing I wanted to talk about, which we just heard on this thing, is how you have to get past your old you to get to your new you. It's like, that's where you can't get past your old you now. Now it's like, I'm not pushing myself anymore. Now it's like you start looking back. And the way that I've started, like, living and thinking, every day I feel like I could be a new person if I want to be.
Very, like, agreed, 110%, because I've learned that to forget about your past, you need to have self-love, some type of, like, self-motivation, and you need to know that you mean something at the beginning of every single day. Because if you're sat there stuck in the past, you're thinking about every single day, like, I was good back then. Say getting over a tough breakup. You were good back then, and then something happened, and then you feel like you can never be like that again.
Yeah.
Try to forget about that. Realize that you love yourself. You're strong the way you are right now, even without that person. Move on and try to find someone better.
Yeah.
Someone that could either make you feel 10 times better than they were, or just make yourself feel better 10 times better than you were when you were with them. And then you can completely forget about your past, and then it's easy to move forward.
Yeah, and the way I think about that is, like, this is, I don't know if anybody's ever said this before. I don't know if I've never seen it on the internet, but, like, if anybody's ever said it before, who knows? Think about, like, when you're driving a car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if your goal is to go forward, and your goal and your destination is in front of you, you're not going to drive looking behind you.
No.
First, like, in a car situation, it's unsafe, like, obviously.
Yeah.
But in, like, a human situation, it's detrimental. It's not beneficial to be looking behind you when you're trying to go forward. So, like, it's an analogy that, you know, mirrors the human, like, human nature, where it's like, if I want to go that way, why am I going to look that way? Why would I care about what's behind me? And I wake up every morning and I'm like, I'm blessed every day, appreciative that I wake up and I have another opportunity to fix the person I was yesterday. But the only way you can fix that person is by not thinking about that person.
Moving forward.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of us have an opportunity every day to wake up and say, all right, I can do whatever I want. You know, I can do
anything
to my extents that I have, whatever I want to do. Like, if you want to be the best at something, I saw a quote today. It was like 5 a.m. It literally just said 5 a.m. Then underneath it said the time where either legends are going to sleep or waking up. Everybody has the chance to wake up at 5 a.m. or stay up all night and work on something and then go to sleep at 5 a.m. But how many people really do it?
It's all about how you put your mind to it.
Exactly.
And like you were saying with, like, the whole, like, analogy of driving forward but looking back, a lot of that comes with, like, people that are, like, nosy. You realize that, like, people that can mind their own business and say you're focused on something, but you're too busy caught up in someone else's business. Back to what I was saying, how everything comes from within and yourself first. You need to, like, settle down and realize that you love yourself. You're able to focus on yourself. You don't care about nothing but yourself. Not in a selfish way, but in a way that that you make sure that you're healthy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit there and try to please everybody.
No.
Some things I may do one day may get you a little annoyed, but please someone else. But at the end of the day, that was making me happy at the moment.
Exactly.
Then the next day, I'll come back, I'll apologize to you. And then if that makes the other person, who cares? As long as I know that I'm doing the right in my every moment, that's the main thing that everybody needs to live by, is focusing on yourself first and then try to fix the things around you that you care about.
Yeah.
Like, if I hurt your feelings, I'd come back and be like, all right, my bad. Like, this feels right to me to come apologize. If it didn't feel right, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And I, like, smiled when you said that, because, like, the amount of times I've said that to people where it's like, you will never please everybody.
Yeah, no.
Never in your life will you please every single person. That's never going to happen. And I'm the type of person that says, never say never. Don't ever say never. Don't say it's impossible. To please everybody is physically impossible. Somebody will always be upset on it, like, whatever it is, they will not agree with everything that you do. And it's something where it's like, I kind of lost my train of thought for a second, but that's just something where it's like, there it is. You have to work on, like you said, you have to work on yourself, bouncing off of that. It's like, without yourself, there's nothing else.
Yeah. You can't start every day without yourself. You don't start your day with someone else's life. You start your day with, all right, I'm awake now. Let me focus on what I'll have to get done. Brush your teeth, wash your face. Okay, now my day can start.
Exactly.
You're not brushing someone else's teeth and washing someone else's face.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're like a healthcare giver, but
exactly.
Still first, you're
But you still have to
day.
brush your teeth first.
Yeah, you're doing yours and then you're doing theirs.
Yeah, it's something where it's like, and I use relationships as an example with this because it's the easiest way to, really, like, shape this out and, like, put an example out there. It's like, if I'm going to take care, when you're in a relationship, you're taking care of somebody else. In a way. Not, fully. I don't think any relationship is fully dependent on the other person. But it's like, if I can't take care of myself,
how do you think I can, like, show love or care for you?
Exactly, and that's where you saying self-love comes into play, where it's like, if I can't love myself, if I can't say I'm proud of the person I am right now, how am I going to love somebody else? How am I going to say I'm proud of the person I'm with right now? I'm not even proud of myself.
Yeah.
Like,
and then that's where you can take like self-evaluate yourself and say, am I really ready for something like this? Because you're making a bigger problem at the end of the day, because you're telling someone that you want to care for them, but you can't even care for yourself. So then you're basically dragging this big weight along with you, which is that other person. And then at the end of the day, when you realize that you can't no more, you were dragging someone along the whole time, that makes them even more sad. Exactly. And then me personally, that would make me feel like the shittiest person, because I hate making people feel down. Like, I always try to make people, like, feel happy. I'm never that person, like you were saying, to put someone down.
Yeah.
And if I know something's wrong, I'm not going to pursue it.
Yeah.
If there's something that I know feels right, I'll go and give it my all.
Yeah. And that's just something where it's like, the everything you do in life, other than the things that you do on your own, are majority done in teams. Like, think of it in an aspect like that. A relationship, you and your girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever it may be, is your significant other. You're a team. Sports, teams. Businesses, teams. And that's why...
You start it by yourself, but you always have that staff or...
Exactly, and that's
support.
why I think, like, when people say there's no I in team, I think it's bullshit. Because without the individual, like, it's like, take a car, for example. Like, you have all these working parts that work together, but if one sucks, if one's broken,
if you don't have brakes,
the whole car doesn't work.
Yeah.
The whole car, there's something wrong with the whole car. So, for a relationship, I'll stay on that example. It's like, yeah, there's no I in team. This isn't all about me. But for this to work, both of us need to realize we're individuals.
Focus on yourself.
And without us being the best individuals we can be, this will never work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's like, everything we do in life is like a car, is a team. It's there's so many moving parts that need to be working together that if one's wrong, the whole ship is going to sink.
Just like a factory line, you have that one factory that's transferring, like, say, a box over to another one to get stamped. If that machine's broken, none of those boxes are getting stamped.
And none of those packages are going out.
Nope, none of them.
And the whole business is down.
Yeah, whole business is down. Then you have, like you were saying with a car, better example. You could have a Lamborghini, beautiful car. You don't have a steering wheel. It's not working.
Yeah.
You could have a business that you're starting, but you don't have someone to promote it or, like, get it out to the public because nobody knows how to use social media. How are you gonna grow?
Exactly.
You need every single gear to be working. Just like a factory's perfect. You need every single gear and machine to be working in order for everything to flourish and stay strong
and flow smoothly. Like, nothing ever goes smoothly. And I will use quotes on this podcast probably 30 times an episode.
Yeah. Because
all I do all day is read quotes, and it's like, I have two that I thought of right now, because the one is a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. There's no such thing as a smooth sea in life.
Yeah.
And if we all want to be the best we can be, we have to, take it on the chin sometimes and just say, yeah, this happened. It's a rocky road, but I will eventually get through this. Yeah. And then the other one was, talking about you and talking like you said, and talking about the teams thing. It's like, you respecting somebody else's hustle or you respecting somebody else's talent, whatever it may be, will never mess with your own dreams. I read that today. And it's like, it's true. Like, so many people, if we're in the same field, let's say we're baseball players, we're businessmen, whatever it may be, if I'm focusing more on saying you suck and, saying you're doing it wrong, you're doing this wrong, just because I want to get ahead of you, I'm wasting my own time that I could be just working hard to get ahead of you.
That's a very good example or like quote, because I was literally looking at something. I forgot where I saw it. It was either on YouTube, I was on Instagram. I saw some video. It was like, every business, you start in that back room. When you're in that back room, you're not focusing on the other businesses around you because you're not getting your own work done. Yeah. You're in that back room focusing on your own. You may not be the CEO of a building yet. You may start in like your mother's basement, let's say. But you're not down there focusing on what, say it's like a new website. You're not focusing on what Google's doing. You're not focusing on what like Yahoo or whatever other like Internet Explorer, whatever it is. You're focusing on what you need to focus on. And you get your work done so you can try to surpass them or get to an equal level as them.
Yeah. And it's just something that a lot of people do. And like, it goes with that, with respecting other people and the way they hustle. And it also goes along with just appreciating yourself too. Like, I'm posting a video after this on my Instagram that I did yesterday, like by myself, that we all need to like appreciate where we are. Like, of course, where we are right now, me and you, it's not where we want to be.
No,
we have goals. We have something that we want to strive for. But at this moment in time, even though we're looking forward and, that's where we want to be way ahead, we need to appreciate where we are now. Still. Granted, we don't look back, but we still live in the present.
Yeah, it's not like we're focusing and trying to become something. We're trying to become our own and get past that.
What?
No. Just...
Oh, I thought you pointed at something.
No.
Like, my whole thing was like, yeah, we have to appreciate where we are now. And you see a lot of people now, like, where they're striving to a goal. They want to be something, whatever it is, a nurse, a doctor. Anything in the world, you're striving towards a goal. And they'll say, I hate where I am right now. I want to be there. That's not the way to go about it. I'm thankful for where I am right now. I have blessings. I have things in my life that a lot of people don't. And I'm going to appreciate where I am, but that doesn't mean I'm satisfied. That doesn't mean I don't want to be there. It just means that I'm very appreciative of what I have,
just like you were
but I want more.
Just like you were talking about like last podcast with the whole like I am thing of I am talking negative, talk positive.
Exactly.
The whole thing saying like, not just like the God sent thing that we were talking about in episode 2. It was just more like, just for yourself. Like, you don't want to say, like you just said, I hate where I'm at. Say, all right, I'm glad I made it this far so far.
Exactly.
I'm not done.
Exactly.
There's still so much more to go because you want to be over there. You want to be past them.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. It's like changing, even Eric Thomas said it in the last video, the muscle memory thing. A lot of things we do on a daily basis, like, there's been times where I drive and I'm like, I get to where I got to and I'm like, I don't even remember driving because my body just takes over at that point. I've done it so many times that my muscles just remember it. And like, doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. It just means like, it's just so natural that it's like, that's what happens. Your mind works the same way. If you can train your mind, and it sounds crazy because people are like, train your mind, you train your muscles. So no, like, if you can literally train your mind to be a positive thinker, it'll change your life. It changed my life.
And your mind's your biggest muscle.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Your mind, without your mind, you have nothing.
Yeah. You
have nothing.
You can't control nothing. You can't, not even like physically like control your arms to move. Like, you physically can't control yourself.
Exactly.
Like, the very first thing that we talked about, our main thing was, what was it? You can't control your mind. If you can't control your mind, then...
You can't, yeah. If you can't, you have to rule your mind or your mind will rule you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so true because the negative thoughts, and I always say this too, positive thoughts breed positive results. Negative thoughts will breed negative results. If you can
manifesting.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And this is something I did learn at QCC with my baseball coach, and it's just something that's like, you know what, at the end of the day, like, the more you think negative, it will manifest in your life as negative. And it's a crazy thing to hear, and it's crazy to think about, like, that just the way you think, things will fall into place that way. But it's true, like, and you can see that happen. Like, if you go into something, like, let's say you go into a test, and you're like, oh, I'm going to fail this. I'm definitely going to fail this test. I'm 100% going to fail this test. You're going to fail the test. It's going to happen.
That whole thing of being optimistic and pessimistic. You have those thoughts like, you know what, I'm going to go into this test and give it my all. You may still fail, but you know that you went in giving your everything. Not going to a test like, oh, I don't know anything, I'm going to fail. So you're basically not caring about what you put down as your answers because you didn't study the night before. But if you go ahead and, I'm going to give this my all. You sit there and you try your best. You think about everything that you've learned in class, whatever it may be, and maybe you do pass the test, and you're like, wow. Like, I've surely had that before, that I've never went into a test saying I'm going to fail. I've went into a test like, I may know nothing about this topic, I might fail, but I'm going to still try my best. And I've passed with like a 66, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. I went into my SAT. My SAT to get me into college, bro. To get me into college, I went into my SAT. I took the first one when I was 17 years old, and I already had my second one scheduled. Because I was like, I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Let me just schedule another one. But when I went into it, I said, you know what? Like, pretty much a God's hands thing. Like, this is in God's hands. Yeah. If I don't do well, I have the second one. So you know what? I'm going to go out. I'm going to do my best. That's it. I went out. I got my best score on my first try. The second time I went out, and I took it again. And I was like, well, I already got a good score the first time.
No, I don't care.
Might as well just take it, right? And I got 30 points less. But that was both times very good scores. I'm not going to flex, but I got a 1220 and an 1190 on my SAT. It's pretty decent out of 1600. But, like, I just went into... I never took a review class. I never studied for it. Never did anything. I just said, you know what? I'm going to be positive about this. I'm going to take this. And hopefully I can breed something. Something will manifest through my mind that will work. And it did.
To, like, pass it. See, the same thing with literally the same exact thing with my SAT. I went into the first one. I had no prep. I had no nothing. I was like, you know what? Let me just give it... Let me see where I stand. See if I do need help. Thankfully for me with COVID and me going into college, being a senior, I don't need to have my SAT, so it kind of does save me a little bit out of taking those classes and taking the test again. I got a 10-10 on my first one without no type of... I didn't take a PSAT. I didn't take nothing. I was just going in based off, okay, I know how to read and write, and I know how to do like the basic math that they were talking about. So I did the best I could. I know I could do better if I had those review. I had put my mind to it, writing a couple SAT books. But no, like, just giving it your all at all times is what everybody needs. You can't be pessimistic. You have to. Ever since I've learned that, to like, once you manifest things, like Angela was saying, how when you manifest things to be negative or positive, it's gonna go whichever way you're thinking. So ever since I've learned that, about like a year ago, I finally like realized the whole thing. Like, I've been very optimistic with everything, even though like it may be a basketball game. Or baseball, whatever you want to put a situation in, we'll use basketball for this, say. You're going against a team of professional basketball players. All right. We may lose this game, most likely will, but let's go out and make a couple layups, make a couple shots, do the best that we could. Don't just give up because they're going to destroy us. You want to give it your all.
It goes along with the same thing where, like, the any given Sunday thing, where it's like anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday. And that's something that I've learned through baseball, where it's like we'd show up to games and kids would be immediately defeated. You'd show up, they'd see the other team.
Down.
In high school, I played against draft picks in high school, like kids who got drafted to the major leagues in the high rounds. Monsignor McClency, for example, had a first-round pick and a fifth-round pick that we played against. And it was like, kids would show up to the game and they'd be like, oh, damn, like, we're going to get our asses kicked today. And I'd look at them and be like, that kid across the field, he puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. And what says that you can't be as good as him? You just didn't work as hard. And if you have a passion to be that good at something, like, baseball fell off for me because it's just something that I didn't have a passion for anymore, where it's like, all right, I'll play, I'll finish out the season, I'll do the best I can, I'll give it my all. I'm not going to, play like an idiot because I don't want to be here. But am I going to push myself for that passion? No. And in that last year of playing baseball, I started bodybuilding, I started weightlifting. And that's where I put all my energy to. I said, you know what, this is what I want to be the best at. I want to gain the weight I need to gain. I want to do this and look the best I can look. And that's the thing that you need to find. Like, now my passion is that I still do every day. And business. Any type of business. And school. Those three things are my passions, where it's like, I will work to be better than anybody I possibly can be at this. Where I don't care if it's Jeff Bezos across from me, and I will respect him till the day I die because the man makes like $1 million a minute.
Yeah.
But
disgusting.
I will work my ass off to get to where he is and eventually surpass him. And it's something that a lot of people don't recognize until you get there. Like, Eric Thomas, also him. He, like he said, he came from nothing. He was a very low tier motivational speaker until one day he checked on Google who the top 5 motivational speakers were in the world, It was Tony Robbins, somebody else, Eric Thomas. He was third on a list with Tony Robbins,
And he was
who's the best motivational speaker in the world. And Eric Thomas was like, I saw that, and it kicked, like, lit a fire under my ass. Where it's like, all right, I'm 2 away from the best motivational speaker in the world. Now I'm going to get there.
Now I got to get to 1. No matter how far you are from that top goal, you just got to keep pushing. Like, even if he wasn't, say he was like 100-something, like, being ranked, and then you have to sit there and push yourself. All right, well, I'm 102nd ranked in the world at motivational speaking. I only have 101 more to go.
Exactly.
You don't think of it like, damn, there's still 100 more
Exactly.
people in front of me.
Exactly.
You think of it, all right, now I got to beat these other 101 people. Let's go.
It's molding your vocabulary and the way you speak. That's the biggest thing. Like, any negative thought can be turned into a positive thought just by switching 1 word or 2 words. And it's like, that'll make a huge difference in somebody's life. That can just change the way you think. You'll wake up a happier person. Like, if you go to bed negative, you're going to wake up negative. I've done it. I've been there. Where it's like, then the next day is shot because now you're negative all day. You go to bed negative again, and then it's just a domino effect where you're just negative every day. When I changed the way I thought to being more positive, being more optimistic, it's like, I go to bed positive, I wake up the next morning, I'm like, all right, let's get it. Let's go. And it's something that you need to, like, and I'm going to really, like, segue into this, where it's like, you need to be prepared to be successful. You need to be prepared to be the best. And something that I hear all the time is unpreparedness is being prepared for failure.
Yeah. It's like not bringing a pencil to class.
Exactly. Unprepared. That's exactly what it is. When you don't have the tools, when you don't have the, I don't want to say the ability, but when you don't have the drive and you don't have the willingness to prepare for something and say, all right, I have all my ducks in a row, let's go get it now.
Mm-hmm.
Without that, you're preparing to fail.
Yeah.
You know, so that, in my opinion, and this might sound crazy, there's no such thing as being unprepared, because you're either prepared to succeed or you're prepared to fail.
Yeah.
Those are the two things.
And you just don't want to be prepared to fail because that sucks.
It does suck. Failing sucks, but I've said this in one of my videos on my Instagram. Without failure, you don't know success.
Yeah.
Just like without sadness, you don't know happiness.
And without losses, you don't know how to win.
Exactly. And, you know, that's the greatest thing. And, like, you also need to know how to lose. Like, there's people who, like, have won their whole life. They're just great at things. Like, where it's like...
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, just people like that, where it's like, you take it, for example, like, the first year a team gets put together in, like, Little League, let's say. And this is the best team ever. And they go, like, 16-0 every year. 16-0, 16-0. Then they get to high school. They're all broken up. One kid goes to a shitty high school team and loses for the first time. He won't know how to lose.
Yeah, he'll...
Or handle it. Or bounce back from it.
Which is why I'm very happy I did go through those losses. I wasn't ever put in so-called perfect situation, because that molds a lot of people that we, like you are today. Like, having to play... Like, I grew up playing soccer. Having to play like those teams that were so much better than us, we went back every single year trying our best to beat that team.
Yeah.
St. Luke's, we were not the best soccer team. We were pretty average.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had that one team that would always beat us first round of the playoffs, second round playoffs, because we'd always come against them, and they'd always be undefeated, win the championship. Always be undefeated, win the championship. That one year that we would take our losses and we'd go back, all right, let's fix it. Let's try to pass the ball more, whatever it may be. We won that championship that one year. The smiles on our faces were insane because we knew that we worked to finally get there. We weren't putting the perfect, like, system. And seeing those kids on the other side of the field, like, just confused and dazed on the fact that they just lost the game to our team, I would never forget the faces on those kids. Because I think that they literally went undefeated like 4 years in a row, and they finally lost to us. The cheers and happiness that was coming from our side of the field because they knew how hard we worked for it. And I think we barely made it into the playoffs that year too. And to see this other team so defeated because they were defeated and confused because they really didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. I like to, with that too, like, even on an individual level, when you don't even take a team, like, I like to call it the peak, when kids hit their peak, and it's like a kid who hits their peak in like 8th grade, and then they go to high school, and there's just a bunch of kids better than them.
Yeah.
And they're like starstruck, and they don't know what to do, and then they fall into this thing where it's like, they'll always be a mediocre kid on a high school team. Because they never knew what it was like to not be the best kid on the team.
Yeah.
And it's like you get there, and some people handle it, and they're like, all right, there's guys better than me. Let me get better. You know? And then there's other kids who handle it, and they're like, damn, I'm never going to play here.
Which is why, you know that quote, would you rather be the best on a shitty team or the worst on the best team? I would rather be the worst on the best team because I have something to drive me.
Exactly.
Even though I have drive every day, that I don't want an excuse to drive me every single day. Like, even if I'm not on the team, I want to, or if you fail those tryouts, you want to sit there and you look at yourself like, all right, I need to get better so I can surpass all these kids and be the best on the team.
Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball.
Yeah.
That'll always be my favorite answer to anything is I'm not the best right now, but if I continue to push myself, I will be. And it's like, well, why do you say that? Well, the best basketball player of all time, and
Very controversial.
I don't care. He's the best basketball player of all time. Was cut from a high school basketball team. We're not even talking about like this kid had to be a walk-on at college. He was cut from his high school basketball team, a varsity team.
His coach saw absolutely nothing in him and said, "All right, you're going to be on the bench. You'll root for the team." And now they're rooting for his entire life.
And now they're wearing his sneakers.
Yeah, his sneakers on his feet, or like watching some type of highlight that he's destroying someone.
Exactly, and it's just that's something that people need to learn every day. And we're at about a half an hour now, so probably gonna wrap this up. But it's I think this has been the most beneficial episode for anybody who's listened so far.
Yeah,
for sure.
Trying to learn just all about self-motivation, which we'll obviously preach this in every single thing that we're talking. But this episode, we sat here and we both started just like, we had some weird connection talking about Eric Thomas, and we're like, you know what? Let's try to just push something out real quick.
Yeah. And that's the way it's got to be. And everybody needs to gain their confidence. Everybody needs to appreciate where they are right now. That's the most important part of this whole episode, I think, is that everybody has a goal that they want to strive to, but always appreciate where you are because you're blessed. If you're sitting on a phone right now and listening to this, or on your computer right now and listening to this, thank God that you have that.
Yeah.
Thank God where you are, but still go and be better every single day. That'll be it. Follow the Perseverance Project on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube.
Yep.
Spotify. Still working on the Apple Music. They're a little shaky when it gets to this,
but a little annoying.
We're going to be on everything. Subscribe. Check it out. Check out both our personal Instagrams. They should be on the Perseverance Project Instagram, but if they're not, we'll put them there.
Yeah, we'll put them there as well.
And next week, another episode. Maybe might have a special guest. We'll figure that out, but be back for next week. Peace.